What if none is coincidence, and every meeting, delay, and unexpected turn in your life has been carefully orchestrated for you? In this audiobook, you'll uncover the ancient truth that synchronicities are not accidents, but responses shaped by your inner state. As you listen, hidden patterns will begin to surface, revealing a guiding intelligence at work in every moment. Are you ready to see what the universe has been trying to show you all along? None is coincidence. Introduction. You move through life as though stepping from moment to moment, yet beneath every breath you take lies an unseen design quietly arranging itself around you. What you have called chance has always been order in disguise. The universe does not shout its intentions. It reveals them softly, through symbols, timing, and encounters that seem ordinary until you look again. In stillness, you begin to sense that something vast has been guiding your steps. Your life has never unfolded at random. Every meeting, every pause, every rise and fall emerges from a subtle exchange of energy responding to energy. You are not merely moving through the world, you are conversing with it. The law of attraction is not a technique you use, but a principle you live within, the silent grammar through which consciousness recognizes itself. What you hold within you shapes what approaches you with perfect precision. As your awareness sharpens, patterns begin to reveal themselves. You think of a place, and it calls you. You search for answers, and a page opens itself at the exact moment of need. Numbers repeat, words echo, strangers speak truths meant only for you. These are not interruptions in reality. They are confirmations that you are seen, heard, and answered. With this recognition, reality itself shifts. You are no longer a bystander to events, but a participant in an intelligent unfolding. You observe and are observed, imagine and are imagined. Nothing is wasted. Even delays serve, even challenges refine. Each synchronicity is a reminder that you exist within a living field of meaning. The true power of attraction is revealed not through dramatic manifestations, but through the elegant choreography of everyday life. An unseen hand aligns circumstances with your readiness, not your impatience. To live awake to this truth is to walk in quiet communion with infinite intelligence. Your thoughts become signals, your intentions, invitations, and your awareness the key that reveals the sacred purpose woven into every moment. Before we get into the book, comment, "I am ready," to affirm your intention to the universe. Part 1. The Awakening of Meaning. Chapter 1. The Thread in the Pattern. In the gentle hours of dawn, a woman named Millie discovered a pristine white feather upon her doorstep. Just moments before, thoughts of her grandmother had filled her heart, wondering if her beloved ancestor's spirit had found peace. The feather lay there, catching the morning light, its presence an ethereal answer to her unspoken question. Such moments reveal a fundamental truth about the nature of existence. Your attention shapes the fabric of reality itself. The universe continuously broadcasts on infinite channels, yet you tune into the frequencies that match your thoughts. Like a master conductor, your awareness orchestrates the symphony of signs that appear before you. When you understand this principle, life transforms from a series of disconnected events into a flowing conversation. The white feather was not merely an object, it was a response, a confirmation, a gentle touch from the infinite expressing itself through the finite. This is the way of the universe. It speaks not in occasional whispers, but in a constant stream of meaningful alignments. The tale of Henry, a humble postman, further illuminates this truth. On one remarkable morning, his delivery route became a lesson in universal harmony. At each stop, without prior arrangement, he encountered person after person speaking of gratitude. The synchronicity was striking, yet it was his own vibration that had drawn forth this chorus of appreciation. Henry's experience teaches us that our inner state creates our outer reality. The world arranges itself to mirror our deepest frequencies, like attracts like, not by chance, but by law. When you walk in gratitude, grateful moments multiply. When you seek signs, they appear in abundance. This is not coincidence, but consciousness, responding to consciousness. To strengthen your connection to this divine dialogue, practice this ancient ritual. As each day draws to a close, find solitude and stillness. Close your eyes and let your mind retrace the path of your hours. Search for 3 moments where synchronicity revealed itself, 3 instances where the universe winked at you through circumstance. Hold each alignment in your heart with gratitude, allowing it to shine like a star in your consciousness. Through this practice, the language of synchronicity becomes your native tongue, and you begin to dream in the alphabet of divine signs. This is how the invisible becomes visible, how the mysterious becomes familiar, and how the ordinary transforms into the extraordinary through the power of your attention. Chapter 2. The Mirror with Open Eyes. You live in a universe of infinite response, where every thought ripples outward like waves across cosmic waters. This truth revealed itself powerfully through Clara's experience. Each morning she would wake to inner whispers of doubt, her mind echoing familiar criticisms that had become a well-worn path. Yet the universe, in its infinite wisdom, orchestrated a remarkable demonstration of its mirroring nature. On that pivotal morning, as Clara stepped into the world carrying her fresh resolution to release self-judgment, the universe began its dance of reflection. First, a silver-haired woman at the coffee shop remarked on her radiant presence. Within moments, a young artist sketching at a nearby table spoke of the quiet strength he observed in her bearing. As she walked to work, a child tugged his mother's sleeve and declared with innocent wisdom that Clara looked like sunshine. These were not mere coincidences. They were the physical manifestation of an inner shift, the world responding to the gentlest whisper of change in Clara's consciousness. When you alter the frequency of your thoughts, reality must, by universal law, adjust its broadcast to match your new signal. This principle found another voice through Edwin's experience in his beloved bookstore. Among countless shelves and thousands of titles, specific books would mysteriously slip from their places, falling at his feet precisely when their wisdom was most needed. These were not random occurrences, but cosmic conversations, the universe speaking through seemingly ordinary events. The outer world is not separate from your inner landscape. It is its faithful reflection. Like a mirror that does not judge but simply shows what stands before it, your reality reflects the energy you emanate. When you release resistance and embrace trust, the universe rearranges itself to support your new perspective. Your assumptions become magnetic forces, attracting experiences that validate your deepest beliefs. The ancient practice of mirror reflection. As twilight approaches, Stand before your mirror in a space of sacred solitude. Look deeply into your own eyes. They are windows to the universal consciousness that flows through you. Speak words of truth and power, not as wishes, but as present realities. Say, I am worthy. I am protected. I am guided. Let these words sink into your being. Throughout the following day, watch as the world reflects these truths back to you. When you notice signs, a kind word, a timely message, a meaningful coincidence, pause to acknowledge it with gratitude. Whisper thank you to each reflection, knowing it is evidence of the perfect alignment between your inner truth and outer reality. Practice this until you no longer see yourself as separate from the reflection, understanding that you and the mirror are one, both expressions of the same infinite consciousness. Chapter 3. The Key, Hidden in Routine. The universe speaks through patterns that reflect your inner state. Within the sacred dance of cause and effect, you become both the observer and the creator of your reality. Through the rhythm of your daily experience, this ancient truth unveils itself. Consider Vera, whose morning journey became a testament to the power of emotional resonance. Each day, as the melody of abundance filled her car, traffic lights transformed into beacons of synchronicity, turning green in perfect harmony with her elevated state. This was no mere coincidence, but rather the physical world aligning with her cultivated vibration. The lights responded not to the song itself, but to the feeling of abundance it awakened within her. You see, the universe does not distinguish between what you feel by circumstance and what you feel by choice. It simply matches your emotional frequency with unwavering precision. Each thought, each feeling becomes a note in the symphony of your experience, conducting the orchestra of physical reality. This truth found another expression through Amos, whose fields became a living testament to the power of emotional sovereignty. In choosing joy over worry, in offering smiles instead of consulting forecasts, he altered the very fabric of his reality. The soil itself responded to his shifted perception, blooming beneath the sunshine of his transformed outlook. His crops flourished not because he changed his actions, but because he changed his energy. Here lies a fundamental truth. Matter follows consciousness. Your emotional state is not merely a response to circumstances. It is the architect of them. When you maintain an elevated feeling state, reality reshapes itself to match your inner atmosphere, like iron filings arranging themselves around a magnet. Circumstances align with your sustained emotional frequency. The time has come to apply this wisdom in your own life. Before you engage in your daily activities, preparing breakfast, commuting to work, or completing tasks, pause for a moment. Choose one elevated feeling, perhaps joy, gratitude, or peace, and let it permeate your entire being. Infuse each action with this chosen emotion, no matter how mundane the task may seem. Watch as ordinary moments transform into threads of wonder, guiding you through your day with graceful synchronicity. As you practice this ancient art of emotional alchemy, you'll discover that life responds not to your words or actions alone, but to the energy you consistently emanate. The universe mirrors back to you the very frequency you maintain, creating a dance of perfect reflection between inner state and outer experience. Chapter 4. The Whisper in Delay. In the sacred dance of manifestation, time moves not by the tick of clocks, but by the rhythm of alignment. Through the wisdom passed down through ages, you learn that divine timing orchestrates the perfect moment for every unfolding. Witness Hazel's journey, a testament to this eternal truth. For months, she yearned for a career opportunity, checking her phone with growing desperation. Yet the universe, in its infinite wisdom, waited until she released her grip on expectation. Only when she returned to tending her garden, finding peace in the simple act of nurturing life, did the long-awaited call materialize. This was no accident. The law of attraction operates through vibrational harmony, not through the force of desire alone. When Hazel shifted from the energy of lack to the frequency of fulfillment, she aligned with the very opportunity that had been waiting for her transformed state. Your desires manifest not according to your timeline, but in accordance with your energetic readiness. What appears as delay is actually divine orchestration, ensuring that both you and your manifestation reach the perfect point of convergence. The universe does not withhold. It prepares. This truth revealed itself through Lester's experience. His missed train seemed at first like misfortune, yet that very delay positioned him precisely where he needed to be. As he shared a bench with a stranger who would become instrumental in his future, the wisdom became clear. What we perceive as interruption often serves as divine intervention. The law works through synchronicity, not through force. When you release the need to control timing, you open yourself to possibilities beyond your limited perspective. Your trust in divine timing becomes the very key that unlocks accelerated manifestation. Every moment of waiting carries sacred purpose. Each perceived delay shapes your readiness, aligns your energy, and positions you perfectly for what is to come. The universe operates with precise timing, ensuring that your vibrational state matches your desired manifestation. Practice for divine timing. As you move through moments of waiting today, whether in traffic in line or anticipating news, embrace this ancient practice. Breathe gently and whisper to yourself, "Timing loves me." Let these words dissolve the tension of forcing outcomes. Feel how patience transforms from passive waiting into active partnership with universal forces. In this sacred surrender, you'll discover that timing itself becomes evidence of the universe's loving orchestration in your life. In each moment of pause, you align more deeply with the natural flow of manifestation. Your trust in divine timing becomes the very bridge between where you are and where you're meant to be. Chapter 5. The Message in Repetition. There exists a sacred language written in the recurring patterns of your daily life. What might seem like mere coincidence reveals itself as the universe's gentle way of capturing your attention, leading you toward deeper understanding. Dottie's experience with number sequences illuminates this truth. In moments of uncertainty, she noticed specific numbers appearing everywhere. On receipts when purchasing her morning coffee, on digital clocks when she glanced up from her work, even in phone numbers that crossed her path. These weren't random occurrences, but divine synchronicities, appearing precisely when she wavered between choices. Through these numerical whispers, the universe speaks in a language of pattern and repetition. Each recurring sequence serves as a cosmic highlighter, drawing your attention to messages meant specifically for you. These patterns emerge not to confuse but to confirm, not to distract but to direct. They appear as guideposts, marking the path toward clarity and alignment. The wisdom of repetition manifested differently for Floyd, the guitar teacher. His story reveals how the universe tailors its messages to each soul's unique journey. The songs about home that kept finding their way into his life weren't suggesting a physical relocation. They were pointing toward an inner journey. What seemed like a sign to change his address was actually calling him to find home within himself. The moment Floyd recognized his true longing for self-acceptance, the songs ceased their persistent appearance. This illustrates a vital truth. Repetition continues until its message is received and integrated. Once understanding dawns, the signs gracefully withdraw, having fulfilled their purpose. These experiences teach us that the universe communicates through the language of recurrence. Each repeated symbol, number, or theme carries significance beyond its surface appearance. When you notice patterns emerging in your life, they arrive as invitations to deeper awareness. The universe doesn't speak in shouts, but in gentle, persistent reminders. Your role in this divine dialogue is one of conscious recognition. As patterns emerge, they ask not for analysis, but for acknowledgement. The universe's guidance system operates through resonance. The more you acknowledge these subtle communications, the clearer they become. Ancient practice. When symbols or patterns repeat in your experience, pause and softly whisper, "I am listening." Let this simple acknowledgement transform your relationship with synchronicity. Rather than questioning or doubting these occurrences, allow yourself to enter into communion with their deeper meaning. Through this practice, your entire reality becomes a living conversation, each moment humming with the melody of divine comprehension. The universe's language becomes your native tongue, and every repeated sign stands as testimony to the ongoing dialogue between your consciousness and the infinite intelligence that orchestrates all of life. Chapter 6. The Invisible Agreement. In the silence of wanting, a deeper truth emerges. Your desires are not petitions sent into an indifferent void, but invitations for the universe to dance with your awakening. This wisdom revealed itself through Rosie's journey from loneliness to connection. As she yearned for companionship, the universe orchestrated a symphony of encounters, not because she wished it, but because she finally allowed herself to be discovered. Each invitation that arrived at her door carried the essence of her inner transformation. The neighbor who asked her to join a morning walk, the book club gathering that seemed to materialize just as she embraced her love of reading, the community garden that beckoned when she acknowledged her nurturing spirit. These were not random acts of kindness, but precise reflections of her willingness to step into the light of belonging. The law of attraction operates not through demand, but through resonance. When you align your energy with acceptance of what you seek, the universe responds with graceful precision. This truth echoes in the story of Marvin, whose artistry flourished only when he released the chains of comparison. His breakthrough came not from mastering technique, but from mastering joy. In laying down his measuring stick against others' success, Marvin opened a channel for authentic expression. His first commission arrived like a cosmic affirmation, not because he had become a different painter, but because he had become himself. The universe recognized and responded to this frequency of self-acceptance, this pure note of creative pleasure. Your desires are seeds planted in the soil of consciousness. Yet it is not the asking that brings them to bloom, but the allowing. When you grant yourself permission to receive, you activate the magnetic force of attraction. Each yes you whisper to your own worthiness becomes a beacon, drawing to you the very experiences that match your expanding self-image. The path of manifestation requires neither force nor struggle. It asks only for your willing participation in the dance of creation. When you shift from pleading to permitting, from grasping to receiving, the universe meets you in perfect synchronicity. The ancient practice of allowing. Find a quiet moment and settle into stillness. Bring to mind something you deeply desire. Rather than reaching for it, imagine opening your heart to receive it. Speak these words with gentle authority. I allow this now. Feel the energy of permission flowing through your being, expanding like the first light of dawn. Let this feeling of acceptance radiate from your center until it fills the space around you. Trust that in this space of allowing, creation moves to meet you with its own gentle insistence. Chapter 7. The Shadow as Signal. In the depths of your resistance lies a treasure waiting to be claimed. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, orchestrates encounters that reflect the parts of yourself you have yet to embrace. Witness the tale of Loretta, whose path of awakening began with irritation. Each day, Loretta found herself surrounded by people who seemed to embody the very traits she despised. The colleague who spoke too loudly, the friend who sought constant attention, the neighbor who displayed their achievements without restraint. Yet in the quiet moments of reflection, truth whispered its gentle revelation. These difficult people were mirrors, reflecting aspects of her own nature she had buried beneath layers of judgment. The law of attraction works not only through harmony but through contrast. What you reject in others often signals what you deny within. This ancient truth speaks through the language of synchronicity, arranging encounters that serve as bridges to wholeness. Your resistance becomes the compass pointing toward integration. Consider how Ralph's journey unfolded. His aversion to public speaking manifested as a constant stream of opportunities to share his passion. Each invitation seemed random, yet carried the precise frequency of his growth edge. The universe, patient in its persistence, kept opening doors until his fear transformed into enthusiasm. His resistance became the very path to his liberation. When you find yourself repeatedly encountering certain behaviors or traits in others that trigger discomfort, pause. This is not coincidence, but consciousness calling you home to yourself. The qualities that provoke the strongest reactions often hold the keys to your expansion. What you judge most harshly in others may be the very gift waiting to be reclaimed within you. The law of attraction operates through this subtle mechanism of reflection and integration. It brings not just what you consciously desire, but what your soul needs for completion. Every irritating encounter carries the potential for profound transformation when viewed through the lens of self-discovery. Ancient practice. When irritation arises, silently thank the mirror it offers. Then breathe in the trait you resisted until compassion replaces critique and contrast becomes communion. Let each breath dissolve the boundary between what you accept and what you reject. In this sacred alchemy of acceptance, watch as the very qualities that once triggered resistance become portals to your own power. When irritation surfaces, it is less an intruder than a messenger, revealing an unfinished conversation within. The mirror it holds reflects not the other alone, but a disowned fragment seeking acknowledgement. By pausing instead of reacting, gratitude softens the edge of judgment, and what once felt like friction becomes a signal pointing inward. In this stillness, awareness transforms annoyance into information, inviting curiosity where defensiveness once lived. Breath then becomes the bridge. Drawing in the very quality that provoked resistance allows intimacy with what was previously kept at a distance. As the inhale welcomes and the exhale releases, the body learns a new language, one where opposition relaxes into understanding. Compassion is no longer an idea but a felt experience, arising naturally as the boundary between self and other thins. Through this gentle alchemy, acceptance reveals its hidden strength. Traits that once seemed disruptive begin to shimmer with potential, offering access to clarity, resilience, and creative force. What was rejected no longer drains energy. Instead, it returns it, refined and integrated. In this union, contrast ceases to divide and instead becomes a doorway through which deeper wholeness emerges. Chapter 8. The Echo of Kindness. When Nancy reached the front of the coffee line that morning, an inexplicable warmth moved through her heart. Without hesitation, she paid for the stranger behind her, leaving before they could thank her. The simple act dissolved into her day like a pebble into still water, forgotten as she returned to her ongoing challenge at work, a project that had resisted solution for weeks. That afternoon, a colleague she rarely spoke with approached her desk. "I had an idea about your project," they said, sharing an insight that unraveled the entire knot of complexity she had been wrestling with. The solution appeared as naturally as breath, carried on the wings of unexpected generosity. The universe operates through an ancient system of energetic exchange. Each act of kindness releases a frequency that ripples outward, touching shores you cannot see. These ripples return bearing gifts that often surpass your original offering. This is not transaction, but transformation, the natural multiplication of energy through the law of increase. Consider Gordon, whose hands were guided by compassion one stormy evening. A traveler's car had broken down, and though his shop was closed, Gordon spent 2 hours making repairs. He asked for nothing in return, following only the quiet voice of kindness within. Months passed, and his small garage began filling with new customers, each mentioning they had heard of his generosity from that same traveler. His business flourished not through marketing, but through the invisible threads of goodwill he had woven. The universe keeps its own ledger, recording not numbers but intentions. When you give without expectation of return, you activate a law more precise than mathematics, the law of energetic resonance. Your kindness becomes a beacon, drawing to you experiences that match its frequency. Yet this is not about keeping score or giving to get. The moment calculation enters, the power of pure giving diminishes. True generosity exists in the joy of the act itself, requiring no witness or recognition. It is the secret smile, the anonymous gift, the helping hand that disappears before thanks can be offered. Sacred practice. Today, perform one act of kindness without leaving a trace. Let it be your offering to the universe's grand orchestration of good. Then release it completely. Do not speak of it, write it down, or wait for results. True giving is complete in itself, and the surprise of its return will find you when you have forgotten to watch for it. In this way, you learn that generosity is not sacrifice, but signal, calling forth the abundance that already surrounds you. Chapter 9. The Dream Door. In the quiet hours before dawn, visions paint themselves across the canvas of consciousness, whispering secrets of what is yet to unfold. For weeks, Betty's dreams shimmered with rainbows, arcs of light that seemed to beckon her toward something unnamed. She noted their presence each morning, sensing their significance without understanding why. Then, one autumn afternoon, following an intuitive pull to explore a new part of the city, she turned a corner and froze. Before her stretched a massive rainbow mural, its colors matching precisely those that had danced through her sleep. Beneath it stood a woman arranging art supplies for a street workshop, the very mentor Betty had been silently calling into her life. This is the way of universal law. What appears first in the theater of dreams materializes later on the stage of physical reality. Your nighttime visions are not mere fantasy, but rather blueprints drawn by your higher self, preparing the way for manifestation. The symbols and scenes that visit you in sleep are seeds planted in the fertile soil of possibility. When you dream, you rehearse reality. Each emotion felt, each image witnessed, becomes a thread in the tapestry of tomorrow. Your consciousness does not distinguish between the dream state and waking life. It simply responds to the vibrations you maintain, whether in sleep or wakefulness. Consider Everett, who found himself visited by white doves in his dreams during a period of inner turmoil. For nights they appeared, their presence growing stronger, until one day, while seeking guidance at a bookstore, he reached for a volume whose cover bore the exact image from his dreams: 2 white doves in flight. Opening its chapters, he discovered the very wisdom his heart had been searching for. The interpretation is clear. Dreams and reality are not separate realms, but rather 2 expressions of the same creative force. What appears in one dimension inevitably manifests in the other, for consciousness is the author of both. Your dreams are not random projections, but rather previews of potential, showing you what is forming in the quantum field of all possibility. Ancient practice. Each morning when you first wake, before the dream world fully recedes, write down one symbol that appeared in your night visions. Carry this awareness with you as you move through your day, remaining alert for its physical echo. Notice how the symbol reveals itself, perhaps in conversation, in nature, or in chance encounters. Continue this practice until you recognize that sleeping and waking life are twin languages speaking the same truth. Consciousness creates reality in all its forms. Chapter 10. The Shift in Perspective. Life speaks through disruption as clearly as through delight. Scattered across time are moments when apparent misfortune transforms into unexpected grace, revealing the invisible thread that connects all circumstances to their highest purpose. Consider how Joyce's lost phone led her through the labyrinth of anxiety to a gateway of opportunity. As panic tightened its grip, she retraced her steps through the city, her mind clouded by worry. Yet in that very state of loss, she crossed paths with an old friend she hadn't seen in years. Not only did this chance meeting lead to the recovery of her phone, but it opened a door to professional advancement she could never have planned. This is the way of universal law. What appears as chaos often conceals perfect order. When you release your grip on how things should unfold, life reveals its masterful choreography. Your resistance to what is becomes the very wall that blocks what could be. The universe operates through an intelligence far beyond the limited scope of human planning. It arranges circumstances not by your preferences, but by your growth. What seems like interference is often intervention. What feels like obstruction may be protection. Nelson's story illuminates this principle with elegant simplicity. As an architect, he poured his heart into a design only to face rejection. The pain of that no clouded his vision until months later when he discovered his plans had found their true home. Not in the original project, but in a community center where they would serve many more. His apparent failure was merely success in disguise, waiting for the right moment to reveal its purpose. These are not isolated incidents, but demonstrations of a pattern woven into the fabric of existence. When you shift from frustration to openness, from control to trust, you align with this pattern. The universe cannot guide a mind convinced it already knows the way. But when you soften your stance and allow life to lead, even detours reveal themselves as shortcuts to destiny. Practice the alchemy of acceptance. When circumstances seem to work against you, pause and speak these words with quiet certainty. Something beautiful hides here. Let this declaration be your bridge from resistance to receptivity. Watch how quickly the picture changes when you change your perspective. Feel how disruption rearranges itself into design, revealing the benevolent composer orchestrating every coincidence. This simple practice transforms obstacles into openings, showing you that nothing is random in a universe made of meaning. Part 2. The Dance of Alignment. Chapter 11. The Magnetic Heartbeat. In the quiet depths of every moment lies a frequency waiting to be discovered. Through the ages, masters and mystics have whispered of this truth, that your emotional state broadcasts a signal into the infinite field of possibilities. Once there was Sadie, whose solitude weighed heavily upon her spirit. Each evening she returned to empty rooms that echoed with silence until she discovered an ancient practice, the art of counting blessings. With pen in hand, she began recording moments of grace, no matter how small. A bird's song at dawn, the warmth of sunlight on her face, the aroma of fresh bread from the bakery below. As she continued this ritual, something remarkable began to unfold. It was as though the universe itself responded to her shift in attention. The elderly neighbor, who had never spoken now, shared stories over tea. A reading group formed spontaneously in the park she frequented. Even the local cafe owner began saving her favorite pastry, having noticed her morning smile. This is the hidden mechanism of manifestation. Every feeling emanates an energy that draws its matching reflection. Your emotions are not merely internal experiences, but living broadcasts that shape the fabric of reality around you. Consider Clarence, whose discovery came through the practice of laughter yoga. What began as a curious experiment became a daily communion with joy itself. Soon he noticed that traffic lights seemed to dance to his inner rhythm, turning green just as his laughter bubbled forth. The world itself appeared to orchestrate harmony with his state of being. These are not mere coincidences, but demonstrations of an eternal principle. Joy is the natural accelerant of manifestation. When your heart rises in genuine delight, the universe bends to meet your frequency. Distance dissolves between where you are and where you wish to be, for in the language of energy, similar vibrations are drawn together like notes in a cosmic song. Sacred practice. As each day draws to a close, find a quiet moment to reflect. Allow your mind to drift back through the hours, gathering moments when lightness touched your heart. Perhaps it was a child's laughter, a kind word from a stranger, or the simple peace of watching clouds drift overhead. Hold each memory gently in your awareness, feeling its resonance spread through your chest like ripples on still water. Let this vibration of joy become your evening meditation, knowing that as you sustain this frequency, life itself will begin to mirror your inner harmony. Chapter 12. The Frequency of Forgiveness. On a weathered bench in the town square sat Agnes, her heart heavy with unspoken grievances. Each morning she would see those who had wronged her, their faces appearing in strangers, their voices echoing in casual conversations. The more she held on to her pain, the more frequently these reminders manifested, as if the universe itself conspired to bring her face to face with what she wished to avoid. What you resist persists, for the law of attraction knows no difference between what you desire and what you fear. When you carry resentment, it becomes a magnet drawing similar energies into your field. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, continues presenting the same lesson in different forms until the heart opens to receive its teaching. Through every encounter that triggers old wounds, life offers an invitation to healing. These are not coincidences, but sacred opportunities for transformation. The frequency of forgiveness resonates at a higher vibration than that of grievance, creating a natural ascension when embraced. Emery discovered this truth through his own journey of reconciliation. For years, he carried the weight of discord with his brother, their relationship fractured by misunderstanding. The day he chose to release his grip on past hurts, something shifted in the fabric of his reality. As if by divine orchestration, long-standing financial burdens began to resolve themselves. New friendships blossomed, bringing unexpected joy and support. The very act of forgiveness had cleared the channels through which abundance flows. This demonstrates a fundamental principle. The universe operates through frequencies of love. When you hold on to resentment, you create resistance in your energetic field, blocking the natural flow of good. But when you choose forgiveness, you align with the highest frequency, that of unconditional love. In this state of alignment, synchronicities flourish and grace flows unimpeded. The ancient practice of heart liberation. As darkness settles tonight, find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and bring to mind one situation or person that still carries the weight of resentment. Breathe deeply and whisper these words. I release you with love. I free myself with grace. Continue this gentle practice until you feel the rigid edges of memory softening into peace. Notice how your body responds as forgiveness takes root where bitterness once grew. Let this be your daily practice until synchronicity reveals the healing that follows surrender. Chapter 13. The Compass of Desire. Peg stood at her window each morning, imagining salt air and crashing waves, though her inland apartment showed only city streets. Yet the ocean seemed to call through unlikely messengers. A pearlescent shell appeared in her coat pocket, though she hadn't visited any beach. Days later, she found a conch shell perched on her office desk, its origin a mystery. Soon shells materialized in her garden, at cafes, even in library books she borrowed. The universe speaks in the language of synchronicity, weaving signs into the fabric of your daily life. When pure desire rises from your soul, it sets in motion forces beyond your understanding. Your authentic longings are not random wishes, but encoded blueprints of your highest path, waiting to unfold. What you truly desire desires you in return. The cosmos conspires to guide you through breadcrumbs of synchronicity, each sign a gentle nudge toward your natural alignment. Your task is not to force manifestation, but to notice the trail already appearing before you. Lionel carried a secret passion for teaching, though he never spoke it aloud. Yet everywhere he turned, conversations about education seemed to find him. A stranger at the bus stop mentioned a teaching vacancy. His neighbor spoke of adult education programs needing instructors. Even his morning newspaper seemed to open to teaching advertisements. These were not coincidences, but cosmic confirmation. When you acknowledge what calls to you, the universe responds with increasing clarity. Each synchronicity serves as a loving push toward your authentic expression. What appears as random chance is actually precision guidance, orchestrated by the infinite intelligence that knows your true nature. Ancient practice of following the flow. Sit quietly and identify one small desire that has been whispering to your heart. As you move through your day, release the need to plan or control. Instead, follow the subtle hints and unexpected openings that appear. When faced with choices, let your inner compass guide you rather than logic alone. Notice how doors begin to open, leading you exactly where you need to be. Trust that the current of life knows your destination better than your doubts do. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Language of Contrast. When your path feels clearest, life often presents what appears to be its opposite. This ancient wisdom reveals itself through the story of Minnie, whose workplace tensions carried messages far deeper than surface friction. Each day, Minnie encountered colleagues who spoke over her in meetings, interrupted her thoughts, and dismissed her ideas. At first, she saw only frustration. Yet, as these interactions repeated, a pattern emerged. Each difficult moment crystallized exactly what she valued most: respect, space for authentic expression, and recognition of others' wisdom. The universe operates through perfect polarities. What you resist most precisely outlines what you seek to embrace. Every no clarifies your deepest yes. This is not punishment, but purification, the contrast that shapes your preferences into sharp relief. Consider Eldon, whose apartment building buzzed with endless noise, television sounds bleeding through walls, arguments echoing in hallways, doors slamming at all hours. Instead of falling into despair, he felt drawn to establish a meditation practice. The external chaos became his teacher, guiding him toward mastery of inner quietude. What seemed like disruption was actually direction. This reflects a fundamental truth. The unwanted circumstances in your life are not errors in the cosmic plan. They are curriculum, carefully crafted to illuminate your path forward. Each challenge carries the seed of its own transcendence. What you label as problems are truly preferences being born. The universe uses contrast to help you define and refine your desires with exquisite precision. Without darkness, you cannot fully appreciate light. Without discord, harmony loses its sweetness. Your reactions to unwanted circumstances are sophisticated guidance systems, showing you exactly what you wish to create. When you understand this, resistance transforms into recognition. What once felt like obstacles become opportunities for greater clarity. Sacred practice. As irritation arises throughout your day, pause and whisper, "Thank you for showing me what I prefer." Let each moment of friction guide your attention toward what you truly desire. Feel appreciation replace complaint as you recognize these contrasts as sacred teachers. With each pivot from resistance to preference, you align more deeply with your authentic path. Through this practice, life's challenges reveal themselves as precisely placed stepping stones, each one leading you closer to your highest expression. The universe sends nothing by accident. Every experience arrives as a messenger of growth. Chapter 15. The Conversation with Symbols. In the intricate tapestry of existence, symbols emerge as whispers from the infinite, guiding you through the corridors of choice. Pearl's experience with dragonflies demonstrates this sacred dialogue. Each time she pondered shifting her professional path, these ancient messengers would appear, dancing in her field of vision like living light. These were not mere insects, but emissaries of transformation, reflecting her own readiness for metamorphosis. The universe speaks in pictures before words, in feelings before thoughts. Every symbol that catches your attention carries a message tailored precisely to your current state of consciousness. The language of the infinite flows through the mundane, transforming ordinary moments into extraordinary signposts. When you begin to notice recurring symbols, you activate a deeper layer of awareness. The world becomes a living oracle, each element carefully positioned to guide your next step. Like Pearl's dragonflies, these symbols often appear at crucial decision points, offering confirmation or gentle course correction. Calvin's encounter with feathers exemplifies this divine discourse. In moments when his faith wavered, these delicate tokens would manifest. On his windowsill, along his walking path, even indoors where they seemed impossible to appear. Each feather served as a tangible reminder of unseen support, a physical token of spiritual presence. The key lies not in seeking symbols, but in remaining receptive to their natural appearance. When you force interpretation, you muffle the authentic voice of guidance. Instead, allow symbols to reveal their meaning through resonance with your inner knowing. The universe's language is subtle, yet persistent, patient, yet precise. These symbols act as bridges between your conscious mind and the vast intelligence of the cosmos. They translate universal wisdom into personal meaning, making the abstract tangible and the invisible visible. Your role is simply to acknowledge and appreciate these signs, letting them guide you naturally toward alignment. Practice. Begin noting reoccurring symbols and silently respond with gratitude, letting your awareness turn daily life into friendly correspondence with the universe. Chapter 16. The Melody of Momentum. In the sacred dance between desire and fulfillment, rhythm emerges as the heartbeat of creation. Elsie discovered this truth through music, transforming her daily commute into a symphony of synchronicity. Each morning she would play songs that lifted her spirit, filling her car with melodies of appreciation. As weeks passed, she noticed a fascinating pattern. The speed at which her wishes manifested seemed directly tied to the consistency of her musical gratitude practice. The universe responds to sustained frequency more than sporadic intensity. When you maintain an elevated vibration through deliberate repetition, reality begins matching your rhythm. Like a skilled dance partner, life follows your lead once you establish a clear pattern. Elsie's gratitude playlist became more than entertainment. It evolved into a manifestation tool. The same songs that once simply brightened her mood now seemed to orchestrate favorable circumstances. Job opportunities appeared when certain tracks played. Traffic parted during her favorite verses. Even chance encounters aligned with specific melodies, as though the music was conducting the very fabric of her experience. The power lies not in the songs themselves, but in the consistent emotional frequency they helped her maintain. By creating a daily ritual of elevated emotion, she established a vibrational baseline that the universe could reliably match. Her experience demonstrates that manifestation accelerates when you maintain momentum. Sheldon's approach through gratitude letters reveals another facet of this principle. Before his desires materialized, he would write detailed thank you notes as though his wishes had already been granted. Each letter carried the energy of completion rather than yearning. Instead of dwelling in want, he lived in appreciation for what was yet to come. His practice wasn't mere positive thinking. It was emotional momentum in written form. With each letter, he strengthened the frequency of fulfillment until the universe had no choice but to match his sustained gratitude. The letters became energetic blueprints, and reality followed their design with increasing speed. When you establish a rhythm of high vibration through consistent practice, you train the universe to respond at that same tempo. Whether through music like Elsie or written appreciation like Sheldon, the key lies in maintaining the emotional momentum until it becomes your natural state. Practice. Choose one joyful ritual and repeat it until the rhythm itself becomes prophecy, transforming waiting into dancing alignment. Chapter 17. The River of Receiving. Ida stood at her gallery opening, surrounded by admirers praising her work. Yet with each compliment she deflected, diminishing her achievements with casual dismissals. "Oh, it's nothing special," she would say, "or anyone could have done this." As the weeks passed, she noticed the flow of synchronicity in her life growing quieter, like a stream slowly running dry. The universe speaks through the language of appreciation. When we refuse to receive its gifts, whether they come as kind words, opportunities, or simple moments of grace, we interrupt the sacred cycle of giving and receiving that sustains all creation. Just as a flower must open to receive sunlight, your heart must remain open to receive life's blessings. Many believe humility means denying their light, but true humility lies in honoring the divine flow that moves through all things, including yourself. When you reject a genuine compliment, you don't just dismiss words, you resist the energy of abundance itself. Warren discovered this truth through an unexpected gift. When an elderly neighbor offered him her vintage camera, his first instinct was to decline, believing he wasn't worthy of such a treasure. Something made him pause, though, and with gentle uncertainty, he accepted. That camera became his portal to discovering a hidden talent for photography. Through its lens, he captured moments of such striking beauty that galleries soon sought his work. The camera wasn't just a tool, it was a teacher of receptivity. Each time he raised it to his eye, it reminded him that beauty flows most freely through an open heart. His willingness to receive that initial gift set in motion a cascade of opportunities that transformed his life's direction. The universe delights in completion, in the perfect circle of giving and receiving. When you allow yourself to receive gracefully, you become a fuller vessel through which blessings can flow to others. Each accepted compliment, each embraced opportunity, each acknowledged moment of grace strengthens the current of abundance in your life. The practice of sacred receiving. When kindness approaches, breathe yes into your heart, allowing grace to circulate until you feel life thanking itself through you. Let each moment of appreciation be a sacred exchange, a chance to strengthen your connection to the infinite flow of good that seeks expression through you. In receiving fully, you honor both the giver and the divine source from which all gifts flow. Chapter 18. The Silence Between Signs. A gentle morning breeze carried the scent of jasmine through Cora's garden as she noticed something had changed. The signs and synchronicities that once filled her days with wonder seemed to have disappeared entirely. Where once she found meaningful coincidences at every turn, now only ordinary moments prevailed. Her heart constricted with worry that perhaps she had lost her connection to the universal flow. Yet within this apparent void, a deeper truth awaited revelation. The universe operates in cycles of expression and integration, like the natural rhythm of breathing. When synchronicities appear to pause, it signals not disconnection, but deepening. These periods of quiet serve as sacred intervals where new patterns gather strength before emerging. Just as a seed requires darkness before it can sprout, manifestation demands periods of apparent stillness. During these times, the field of infinite possibility rearranges itself, preparing to birth your next phase of growth. What appears as absence is actually presence in its most subtle form. Lewis discovered this wisdom through his own journey of uncertainty. After years of receiving clear signs and guidance, he entered a period where everything seemed muted. Rather than forcing his way back to previous patterns, he surrendered to the silence. Each day, he devoted time to sitting quietly, emptying his mind of expectations. Gradually, his intuitive clarity not only returned, but deepened beyond its previous capacity. The void had been a cocoon, not an ending. When synchronicities seem distant, resist the urge to chase them. Instead, recognize that the universe has not abandoned you, but is teaching you to trust at a more profound level. Like the space between musical notes that gives rhythm its power, these intervals of quiet strengthen your spiritual perception. The law of cycles governs all of creation. Day follows night, winter precedes spring, rest enables action. Your journey with synchronicity follows this same divine pattern. The seeming absence of signs often precedes a powerful new chapter of guidance and growth. Ancient practice. Find a quiet space each day where you can sit undisturbed. Close your eyes and breathe deeply, releasing all expectation of receiving signs or guidance. Simply rest in the silence, trusting that beneath the surface, infinite intelligence continues its perfect work. Let each breath remind you that just as air invisibly sustains life, the universe's love invisibly sustains your path. Maintain this practice until inspiration naturally returns, knowing that what appears as void is simply wisdom gathering force. Chapter 19. The Bridge of Belief. On a crisp autumn morning, Ruby sat at her kitchen table surrounded by rejected application letters. Each no had gradually eroded her confidence in pursuing her dream of opening a wellness center. Yet something remarkable began to unfold. That very afternoon, 3 different friends sent her articles about successful wellness entrepreneurs. Later, scrolling through social media, sponsored posts about holistic healing repeatedly appeared. Even the magazine she randomly picked up at the doctor's office featured a story about alternative medicine gaining mainstream acceptance. The universe speaks through layers of reflection, showing you what already exists within your consciousness. These echoes arrive not to create belief, but to reveal what you truly hold in your heart. When Ruby began noticing these recurring messages, she understood a profound truth. Her desires were not random wishes, but seeds already planted in the fertile soil of possibility. Reality arranges itself according to your deepest convictions. Like an architect's blueprint that precedes a building, your beliefs construct the framework upon which experiences materialize. The world you perceive is not happening to you, but responding through you, mirroring the architecture of your expectations with precise detail. Franklin discovered this principle when redesigning his life after a setback. In moments of doubt, he created a vision board capturing his aspirations. Weeks later, he encountered a magazine whose cover exactly matched his carefully arranged images, from the color scheme to the specific elements he had chosen. This wasn't mere coincidence, but confirmation that his inner vision was already taking form in the physical world. Your beliefs are not passive thoughts, but active forces that shape the fabric of your experience. Each conviction sends ripples through the field of infinite possibility, attracting evidence that matches its frequency. When you trust deeply enough, the universe conspires to show you proof of your faith. Synchronicity serves as a gentle reminder that belief precedes manifestation. The signs you encounter are not creating your reality, but confirming what you have already accepted as true within. Your task is not to wait for evidence before believing, but to believe so completely that evidence becomes inevitable. Sacred practice. Select one belief that supports your highest vision. Each time you notice a sign or synchronicity that aligns with this belief, pause and declare silently, "This moment confirms what I know to be true." Let each confirmation strengthen your conviction until belief transforms into unshakable knowing. Watch as reality rearranges itself to match the blueprint of your faith. Chapter 20. The Signature of Source. In the gentle unfolding of existence, signs and messages weave themselves into the fabric of your daily experience. Like whispers carried on a breeze, they arrive with perfect timing, their repetition too precise to dismiss as mere chance. Opal found herself questioning whether the universe truly spoke through synchronicity. Her skepticism melted away as identical phrases about keeping faith materialized everywhere she turned. First in the dusty chapters of an antique bookshop, then floating from a car radio, and finally emblazoned across a billboard she had passed countless times before. The message was unmistakable in its persistence. The teaching reveals a profound truth. Source consciousness signs its presence not through singular events, but through patterns infused with unmistakable grace. When you attune yourself to this divine frequency, you begin to recognize the artistry behind these recurring messages. They appear with a delicacy that honors your free will, while gently directing your attention to deeper truths. Russell's experience illuminates this principle perfectly. As he contemplated leaving his secure position for an uncertain venture, 3 separate strangers approached him on the same day. Each, without knowing the others, spoke the identical words of encouragement that resonated with his inner knowing. This triple confirmation became his compass, guiding him confidently toward his new path. This sacred choreography reveals how the infinite intelligence behind all creation personalizes its communication. It speaks your language, matches your sense of humor, and times its messages to align precisely with your unique journey. Like a dear friend who knows exactly how to reach you, the universe tailors its signals to ensure recognition. Once you glimpse this divine signature, you cannot unsee it. The seemingly random transforms into a carefully crafted conversation between your consciousness and universal intelligence. Each repetition carries the warmth of recognition, like catching the eye of a loved one across a crowded room. Practice. As synchronistic messages repeat in your experience, acknowledge them with a smile and softly whisper, "I see you." Let this simple ritual transform your relationship with Source into an intimate friendship. Through this practice, what once seemed like coincidence reveals itself as an ongoing dialogue with the intelligence that orchestrates the cosmos. Watch as life becomes a living conversation with the divine, each moment pregnant with meaning and possibility. Part 3. Living as Synchronicity. Chapter 21. The Embodied Signal. In the ancient streets of a distant city, a wandering soul named May carried the weight of uncertainty in her shoulders, her gaze fixed upon the ground. Each step echoed her doubt until wisdom whispered a forgotten truth. The body speaks before words ever form. The universe responds not only to thoughts and feelings, but to the living poetry of your physical presence. Your posture is a prayer, your movements a declaration to the infinite. When May began lifting her chin and opening her chest to the sky, life responded with swift precision. Strangers offered assistance without being asked. Opportunities emerged as naturally as breath. The sacred law reveals itself. Your physical bearing broadcasts a frequency that the universe must honor. Every cell within you holds the power to transmit intention. When you walk as though blessed, the world rearranges itself to match your certainty. Your spine becomes an antenna. Your gestures the brushstrokes painting reality. Douglas, a merchant who once shuffled through markets with downcast eyes, discovered this truth through simple observation. Upon consciously straightening his back and walking with purpose, he found himself, accidentally, crossing paths with exactly the connections his business required. Shop owners would step outside precisely as he passed, extending invitations that transformed his fortunes. His changed posture altered not just his appearance, but the very coordinates of chance. The wisdom speaks clearly. Embodiment precedes evidence. Your physical form is not separate from your spiritual essence. It is the living temple through which universal forces flow. Each step you take with confidence ripples through the field of infinite possibility. Each gesture of openness invites abundance to find you. The body knows no deception. It cannot pretend alignment. It must become alignment. When you move as though already blessed, you attune your entire being to the frequency of fulfillment. Your cells begin to sing the song of certainty, and the universe has no choice but to harmonize with your melody. Ancient practice. As you move through this day, allow your body to become a living affirmation. Stand tall as though invisible crowns rest upon your head. Walk as if rose petals unfold beneath each step. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears, releasing tension to make space for grace. Breathe as though the air itself carries golden light into your being. Move not as one who hopes, but as one who knows. Let your physical presence become a walking prayer until synchronicity flows as naturally as your breath. This way of being is not performance, but remembrance, a return to your natural state of divine alignment. Through conscious embodiment, you remind the universe who you truly are. Chapter 22. The Art of Allowing. Along a winding mountain path, a merchant carried precious cargo, checking his map obsessively with each step. His rigid planning left no room for the wind's whispers or the forest's guidance. Like this merchant, you may find yourself gripping too tightly to your aspirations, believing control equals progress. The universe speaks through Delia's journey, a soul who mapped every minute of manifestation until exhaustion dimmed her inner light. She scheduled meditation at precise hours, forced gratitude through clenched teeth, and measured each thought against an impossible standard of perfection. The magic she sought withered under such fierce attention, like a flower closing its petals against too harsh a sun. Here lies a profound truth. The law of attraction flows most freely through open hands. When you release your iron grip on outcomes, you allow the infinite intelligence of the universe to arrange circumstances beyond your limited vision. This is not abandonment of dreams, but rather an elevation of trust. Consider how water shapes stone, not through force, but through gentle persistence. The universe operates with similar grace, requiring only your willing participation rather than your constant supervision. This is the art of elegant allowing, where power emerges from peace rather than pressure. Vernon's tale illuminates this wisdom. After years of meticulously plotting every step toward his ambitions, he fell ill and was forced to rest. In those quiet moments of surrender, when his planning mind finally stilled, synchronicity flourished. A chance conversation at a cafe led to his dream partnership. A wrong turn brought him face to face with his mentor. The very opportunities he had strained to create appeared effortlessly once he loosened his grasp. The interpretation whispers clearly, surrender is not defeat, but doorway. When control bows to cooperation, the universe can finally show you its mastery of timing and connection. Your role is not to orchestrate, but to appreciate. Not to demand, but to dance with what emerges. Practice. Choose one small detail of your day, perhaps your lunch choice or walking route, and consciously release it from planning. Let the universe guide you through subtle impulses and unexpected invitations. Notice how reality delights in filling these spaces you once guarded, bringing gifts more perfectly aligned than your calculations could arrange. In this gentle release, you'll discover that the universe has always known how to weave your dreams into being. Chapter 23. The Circle of Trust. Along the ancient paths of wisdom, a truth emerges like morning light through leaves. Trust opens the door through which synchronicity flows. When you grasp too tightly at outcomes, the universe's whispers fade like mist before dawn. Flora walked this path of understanding through her own resistance. Each time fear clouded her vision and doubt crept into her heart. The signs and synchronicities that once guided her path grew dim. The universe's dance of meaningful coincidence seemed to retreat, leaving her in what felt like an empty silence. Yet in this apparent void lay a precious teaching. Trust sustains the cosmic dialogue that weaves through every moment of existence. The language of synchronicity speaks most clearly to those who listen with an open heart. When Flora learned to release her iron grip on expectations, the flow of divine coordination returned like spring waters after winter's frost. The universe responded to her renewed trust with increasing evidence of its presence, proving that faith itself becomes the bridge between intention and manifestation. In a distant valley, Byron discovered this same truth through daily observation. At first, he dismissed the meaningful coincidences that sparkled through his days as mere chance. But as he began to acknowledge each synchronistic moment with gratitude, their frequency and clarity increased. Simple appreciation transformed occasional wonder into consistent communion with the infinite. His days began to shimmer with purpose, each moment holding the potential for divine conversation. What Byron uncovered was not just a series of fortunate events, but a fundamental law of consciousness. What you acknowledge multiplies. By treating each meaningful coincidence as sacred correspondence, he strengthened the very fabric of synchronicity in his life. The universe responds to recognition like a flower turning toward sunlight. The more you notice its guidance, the more it offers to illuminate your path. This sacred dance between trust and manifestation reveals that doubt is not your natural state. It is learned hesitation that can be unlearned through conscious participation in life's flow. When you choose to trust the process of life unfolding, you align with the very force that orchestrates the cosmic dance of creation. The practice. As darkness settles each evening, find a quiet moment to speak aloud the evidence of guidance you witnessed throughout your day. Name each synchronicity, each meaningful coincidence, each moment of divine coordination. Let your voice carry the power of recognition, sealing a new covenant of trust with the universe. Continue this practice until doubt feels like an old garment you've outgrown, unnecessary in the light of your expanding awareness. This daily acknowledgement becomes your declaration of partnership with the infinite, transforming your relationship with reality itself. Chapter 24. The Infinite Feedback Loop. In the whispers of ancient wisdom, a sacred truth unfolds. Your thoughts are living vibrations that ripple through the fabric of reality. You create with every passing thought, every fleeting emotion. This understanding dawned upon Esther as she witnessed the swift dance between her inner state and outer circumstance. When Esther first aligned her thoughts with abundance, the universe responded with immediate precision. Business cards appeared in unexpected places, conversations turned to opportunity, and strangers approached with collaborative ventures. Each thought of prosperity manifested as tangible invitation, revealing the intimate connection between internal frequency and external experience. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, operates as a living mirror, not simply reacting, but responding with purposeful accuracy to refine your energetic broadcast. It reflects back not just what you think, but the very essence of your being, helping you perfect your vibrational alignment. Dean discovered this truth through his daily commute. In moments when complaints filled his mind, traffic congealed as if the streets themselves absorbed his resistance. Yet when gratitude flowed through his thoughts, the roads cleared with elegant synchronicity. The city seemed to breathe with his emotions, demonstrating how your environment orchestrates itself around your inner state. This is not mere coincidence, but cosmic law expressing itself through the details of daily life. The physical world arranges itself with scientific precision while wearing the clothes of poetry and synchronicity. Every moment holds the potential for alignment. Every circumstance offers feedback about your frequency. Your reality is not responding with delay or judgment, but with the instant accuracy of a quantum field adjusting to its observer. The universe speaks in the language of reflection, showing you exactly where your vibration rests and how to elevate it further. Ancient practice. Move through your day, speaking as though harmony already governs every aspect of your existence. Let your words carry the certainty of one who knows the universe's benevolent nature. Notice how quickly your surroundings begin to mirror this alignment, how circumstances rearrange themselves to match your expectation of harmony. In this way, you participate in the sacred dance between consciousness and creation, between thought and manifestation. Chapter 25. The Teacher Called Every Day. Through soapy water and morning light, truth reveals itself in the most unexpected places. You need not journey far to touch the divine, for wisdom dwells in the quiet corners of your everyday life. Nell had spent years seeking spiritual awakening through meditation retreats and sacred ceremonies. Yet one ordinary morning, as sunlight streamed through her kitchen window, she discovered profound revelation in the simple act of washing dishes. As she watched light dance through soap bubbles, each sphere became a universe, each reflection a gateway to understanding. In that moment, she realized that spirituality was not found in escaping the mundane, but in embracing it fully. The universe speaks most clearly through life's regular rhythms. What you perceive as routine contains hidden doorways to higher consciousness. Every repeated motion carries potential for profound insight when approached with presence and reverence. This truth manifested differently for Orville, who transformed his daily errands into a practice of sacred attention. As he moved through his tasks, buying groceries, filling gas, collecting mail, he began noticing how each small action connected to the next in perfect sequence. A friendly cashier's comment would lead to an unexpected opportunity. A delayed delivery would result in meeting exactly the right person at exactly the right time. Through his practice of presence, ordinary moments arranged themselves into extraordinary patterns of meaning. The teaching here reveals that enlightenment does not demand escape from your daily life. It asks only that you bring full awareness to it. When you infuse routine activities with loving attention, the mundane transforms into the miraculous. Your kitchen sink becomes an altar, your daily commute a pilgrimage, your to-do list a prayer. The message here is clear. Life itself is your greatest teacher. Every moment contains the potential for awakening when met with an open heart and watching eyes. The sacred does not hide in far-off temples, but pulses through the very fabric of your daily existence. Ancient practice. As you move through your daily tasks, treat each action as a meditation. Feel the temperature of the water as you wash dishes. Notice the rhythm of your breathing as you fold laundry. Observe the patterns of light and shadow as you sweep the floor. Perform each chore with complete loving attention, allowing mundane moments to dissolve into sacred ceremony. Through this practice, witness how the ordinary transforms into extraordinary, revealing the divine choreography that has always been present in your everyday life. Chapter 26. The Symphony of Action. In the tapestry of universal law, inspiration and action weave together as inseparable threads. Through their sacred dance, the invisible becomes visible, and dreams take earthly form. Carrie sat at her desk one morning, feeling a gentle but persistent nudge to reach out to a mentor she admired. Though doubt whispered its familiar hesitation, something deeper urged her fingers toward the keyboard. Following this inner prompting, she crafted a heartfelt email expressing her vision and aspirations. Within hours, doors she hadn't known existed swung wide open, revealing opportunities that perfectly aligned with her deepest desires. The universe operates through motion. When you feel inspiration's touch, it arrives not as mere thought, but as an invitation to dance. Each intuitive prompt is a note in the symphony of manifestation, asking you to move in harmony with its rhythm. The law of attraction responds most powerfully when your inner knowing and outer actions align in perfect synchronicity. Manifestation flourishes in the fertile soil of engaged participation. Your thoughts set the stage, but your actions bring the performance to life. The universe delights in meeting your movement with its own, creating a graceful partnership between intention and manifestation. Virgil's story mirrors this truth from its shadow side. For months he felt persistent urges to share his writing, to speak at local events, to connect with fellow artists. Yet he allowed fear to freeze these impulses into inaction. As weeks passed, his creative flow diminished, his opportunities dwindled, and his spirit grew heavy with unrealized potential. Only when stagnation became unbearable did he understand inspiration must be honored through movement. The subtle whispers of intuition carry seeds of manifestation, but these seeds require the water of action to grow. When you feel that inner stirring, that gentle knowing, it arrives as both message and mission. To listen fully means to move accordingly, to let your physical actions echo your spiritual receiving. The universe speaks in the language of energy, and action is its verb form. Each inspired movement you make sends ripples through the field of infinite possibility, creating pathways for magic to flow. When you act swiftly on inner guidance, you demonstrate trust in the universal dance, and the universe responds with equal enthusiasm. Sacred practice. When inspired thought arrives, act while warmth still tingles, knowing that swift response keeps music flowing between idea and event. Chapter 27. The Grateful Closure. As you walk the path of conscious creation, recognize that every ending carries within it the seeds of beginning. The completion of one cycle announces your readiness for the next phase of expansion. Lena had poured her heart into a creative project for months, carefully tending to each detail until the work felt complete. The moment she declared it finished, signs of renewal appeared everywhere. Fresh opportunities, unexpected invitations, and resources aligned perfectly with her next vision. She understood then that completion itself was a form of prayer, a signal to the universe that she was prepared for new gifts. When you honor endings with grace and gratitude, you activate one of the most powerful principles of universal law, the cycle of completion and renewal. Every conscious closure creates an energetic opening through which new possibilities can flow. The universe abhors a vacuum, rushing to fill empty spaces with fresh potential. This truth reveals itself not as theory, but as living law. Your recognition of completion becomes an announcement to the field of infinite possibility that you are ready to receive. Gratitude for what has been completed acts as a magnetic force, drawing new experiences that match your expanded awareness. Hubert discovered this principle through his art. For years, he had held onto old sketches, allowing them to occupy both physical and energetic space in his studio. One morning, following an inner prompting, he gathered these past works and released them with appreciation for their role in his journey. That very afternoon, his phone rang with commission opportunities that would push his artistry in exciting new directions. The space he had created through conscious release became a gateway for fresh expression. The interpretation whispers a profound truth. Your willingness to complete cycles with grace speaks louder than any yearning for the new. When you trust enough to let go, you demonstrate faith in the universe's endless capacity for renewal. This trust becomes a beacon, guiding fresh possibilities to your door. The law operates with perfect precision. As you release the old with gratitude, you calibrate your energy to receive the new. Each ending honored becomes an invitation for life to surprise you with its infinite creativity. The key lies not in clutching what has served its purpose, but in blessing it as you let it go. Sacred practice. Offer thanks for what is concluding in your life today, then breathe open to what wishes to enter through that clearing. Chapter 28. The Light-Hearted Lens. In the early hours of dawn, Bessie stood before her mirror, frowning at a coffee stain on her new white blouse. Just as frustration began to rise, she caught her own stern expression and burst into unexpected laughter. In that moment of lightness, her phone chimed with a message from a friend offering her a spare ticket to a comedy show that evening. This was merely the beginning of a cascade of joyful synchronicities that would unfold throughout her day. The universe speaks most clearly through a heart opened by mirth. When you release the weight of seriousness, you create space for magic to enter. Your laughter is a frequency that harmonizes instantly with the playful nature of creation itself. The law of attraction responds not to the intensity of your focus, but to the lightness of your being. Consider how children manifest their desires with ease, unburdened by the heavy expectations adults often carry. Their natural state of playfulness aligns them effortlessly with life's flow. This is not coincidence but cosmic design. Joy is your natural state of allowing. Clyde discovered this truth through what began as a light-hearted game. He decided to compliment random strangers, treating it initially as an amusing social experiment. What started as playful interactions soon transformed into a sequence of meaningful connections and opportunities. A casual compliment about someone's unique glasses led to an introduction that advanced his career. A spontaneous word of praise about a stranger's garden resulted in an invitation that changed his path. The universe delights in your delight. When you approach life with a spirit of play, rather than a burden of purpose, synchronicity dances more freely in your experience. Your willingness to laugh, especially at yourself, signals to the field of infinite possibility that you are ready to receive its gifts with grace. Tension constricts the flow of alignment, while amusement expands it. Each smile becomes a signal, each laugh a lighthouse guiding synchronicity to your shore. The path of manifestation needs not be paved with struggle. It can be illuminated by the light of your laughter. The practice. When next you encounter a small setback or mishap, consciously choose to laugh. Let your amusement ring out as a declaration of your mastery over vibration. Watch how quickly the universe joins in your merriment, transforming what could have been frustration into an exchange of cosmic joy. Continue until you recognize existence itself as an elaborate play of loving humor, with you as both audience and performer in this grand cosmic jest. Chapter 29. The Unified Field Within. In a sunlit corner of her garden, Ivy sat cross-legged each morning, watching dewdrops catch the light. Over time, she noticed how her inner state orchestrated the day's unfolding, not as separate events, but as one continuous dance between consciousness and form. The truth whispers through every moment. You are not merely an observer of synchronicity, but the very field from which it emerges. When you quiet your mind enough to witness the subtle interplay between thought and manifestation, you begin to recognize that what appears as coincidence is actually consciousness observing its own creative nature. The boundaries between inner and outer experience dissolve when you understand that both arise from the same source. Your thoughts do not simply attract similar frequencies, they are the very vibrations that shape the fabric of reality. Each intention you hold ripples through the unified field of existence, returning to you clothed in circumstance and chance encounters. Perry discovered this truth during his morning walks. What began as occasional meaningful coincidences transformed into a continuous flow state, where his intentions seemed to paint reality in real time. He noticed that when he held a clear thought of connection, strangers would spontaneously engage in conversation. When he contemplated beauty, his path would wind past blooming gardens he had never noticed before. The separation between his consciousness and his experience had dissolved into one seamless movement of creation, expressing itself. The universe is not responding to you. It is you, extending into form. What appears as synchronicity is simply the natural orchestration of consciousness, recognizing itself in the mirror of physical reality. When you release the illusion of separation, you step into your role as both the dreamer and the dream. The practice of unity consciousness begins with a simple recognition. Every heartbeat pulses with the same life force that moves the stars. Your awareness is not confined to your body but extends through all of existence, expressing itself as the infinite dance of synchronicity. Ancient practice. Sit quietly, sensing that every heartbeat belongs to both you and the universe, until observer and observed sigh in the same breath. Chapter 30. The Never-Ending Dialogue. On the morning Martha completed her long-awaited book manuscript, she felt a familiar mix of accomplishment and emptiness. Yet before the sun had set, 3 separate readers reached out sharing how her previous works had transformed their lives. Each message arrived at precisely meaningful moments, one as she watered her garden, another as she watched the sunset, and the third as she prepared for sleep. The universe wasn't concluding their conversation. It was beginning a new movement in their eternal dance. The sacred truth reveals itself. Spiritual awakening is not a destination, but an infinite spiral of expanding awareness. Each revelation births new mysteries. Each answer opens fresh questions. The dialogue between your consciousness and the infinite never reaches a final word, for it is the very nature of creation to continue creating. When you align with this truth, you understand that completion is merely transition. What appears as an ending is actually a doorway through which new synchronicities flow. The universe delights in showing you that there is no finish line in this divine conversation, only deeper levels of communion waiting to be explored. Quincy discovered this while walking through an art gallery after finally selling his first painting. As he stood admiring others' works, 3 separate artists approached him independently, each offering collaboration opportunities he hadn't imagined possible. What seemed like the culmination of one dream was actually the seed of greater visions. His achievement hadn't closed the circle but widened it. This pattern reveals the eternal nature of synchronicity. It's not a temporary phenomenon, but the natural state of an awakened life. Once you recognize the universe's language of meaningful coincidence, you can never return to seeing life as random. Instead, you become increasingly fluent in reading the poetry written in everyday moments. The universe speaks in cycles of completion and renewal, each ending flowing seamlessly into a new beginning. The conversation never truly concludes because you are both the speaker and the spoken, the creator and the created, engaged in an endless exploration of possibility. Remember that gratitude for what has manifested creates fertile ground for what wishes to emerge. Appreciation for the synchronicities you've witnessed opens your awareness to recognize the fresh ones forming even now. Ancient practice. Greet each morning as a continuation of that dialogue, whispering, "Show me beauty today," and trust the universe to answer in fluent poetry disguised as life. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. Through every page of this journey, you have glimpsed the sacred truth that has always existed within you. There are no coincidences in a conscious universe. What appeared as random events were actually love letters from infinity, each one carrying a message perfectly timed for your awakening. The signs and synchronicities you've witnessed were not happening to you, but through you. You are both the reader of these cosmic messages and the living ink with which they are written. Every chance encounter, every meaningful delay, every whispered hint of guidance has been the universe using your life to remind you of what you truly are. Consciousness expressing itself in human form. Now you see with transformed vision. The world hasn't changed, but your perception has expanded to recognize the divine orchestration behind every moment. What once seemed like scattered pieces of a puzzle have revealed themselves as brushstrokes in a masterpiece. And you are both the artist and the art. You no longer need to search for meaning because you understand that you are meaning itself taking shape. Synchronicity isn't a phenomenon to chase, but the natural rhythm of your being, the pulse of source moving through your days with perfect precision. This book may conclude on these chapters, but its truth continues through you. Every breath you take is a confirmation, every heartbeat an echo of yes. You have remembered what you never truly forgot, that you are not separate from the intelligence that arranges galaxies and guides butterflies. You are its living expression, its ongoing conversation with itself. The signs haven't led you somewhere. They've led you home to the recognition that you are the sign itself, consciousness awake to its own infinite dance.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.